Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to another fantastic episode of Stories Around Azeroth with myself, as always, the magnanimous Pete Titans Creed Nethercoat, joined by the wonderful, the brilliant, my friend, Frazley TC. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome. It's so good to be here. So good to be hanging out with friends today. And we've got a full house tonight, I gotta say.
And once again, it is an honor and a privilege to be joined as we hear some more stories around Azeroth.
I like that.
I hope everybody puts their shields up to defend against the rage of the Berserker and one NavOx. How are you doing, gentlemen?
Doing well. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, doing well. Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting getting to listen to more people and their environments around the actual world itself, which is kind of what we do here on the show and everything else. And you guys have got a bit of a storied past.
Well, we try to cause as much trouble and damage as, as we can, as much as we can everywhere we go.
Yeah, I always call you the screw tape letters of podcasting, because when you talk about like the rage in the forums, there's always that moment you're like, I never know if you're serious or if you're not whenever you talk about that rage.
And that's the beauty of the show, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd like to think that when we're not being serious, there's at least a little wink and a nod in there somewhere to being like,
yes,
come on board with us. Otherwise, there are things like, we're really upset about this and we're going to let you know and come on board with this if you want to. If not, you know what? You've never heard of us anyway, so you probably just found us by a fluke. And you can go watch one of the other 500 shows that nobody else knows about either. It's
I know, it is now 601. I just checked.
Oh, wow. You know what?
Frazley just Googling Warcraft podcast and just see how many people just fall.
Yeah.
That's what happens when there's a new expansion on the horizon. We'll get
everybody comes out of the woodwork, don't they? It's just like, do you remember we went on hiatus like a year ago at the turn of the patch? Well, we're back now, guys.
Remember when we were big 10 years ago, and now we just show up whenever the fuck we want? It's great.
Now, I don't want people think that I don't want people think that we're being elitist, because I encourage everybody to do a podcast. Just stick with it, please. I hate when I see a show.
I encourage everyone to make content of some description.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be a podcast.
No.
I don't know. Like, I think there's enough creative juice within anyone. Like, I'm quite sure we've all got a friend or two who does art or creation of some description. Yeah. And then, there's us less talented folk which stick our faces on camera and just talk bullshit for an hour or two.
Well, someone's got to do it.
I know,
Might as well be us.
That falls down to us. We've taken that burden.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I mean, I tell people I'm a huge professional klutz.
Professional bullshitter.
Some of us are born, with faces for radio, and then like idiots, we come on these streams and prove it. So it's great. It's great. I don't have anything fancy like the Dark Moon Herald behind me, but you can see my collection of other bullshit over here. So
did you see?
Try my best.
Did you see Ringmaster Kevin at BlizzCon? That dude goes all out. Like they wore the hat and everything.
Dappered.
Yeah, the whole time along, I'm like, that is somebody who knows marketing and knows how to present so well.
I know. Well, I almost called Nav to be like, bro, we got to wear the shirts.
Yeah, this next time in 2025 when we do our next BlizzCon, I'm gonna have to wear some merchandise.
2025. I love your optimism.
Oh, thank you.
We're gonna be dead by then. Come on.
Well, yeah, like we're not gonna be stuck in bloody isolation for the next 3 years, isn't it? Well, that's the one. But yes, on to lighter things while the world doesn't burn.
Wait, didn't you see Totosil?
I mean, part of the world's on fire. It's not even on fire anymore.
I'm in California, man. So I mean, it's a
matter of
You're California. There's people from Texas in the chat. It's all good. Yeah. The world's perennially on fire. But yes, as we always like to start the show, we always like to talk about what we've done in the game this week. So, gentlemen, your guests, how about you let us know what you've done in Azeroth this week and talk about the show, what you do, and yeah.
Brother Navo, why don't you kick it off?
All right, so I'm gonna let Zerker talk about the show. So what I've done this week in game is I'm leveling alts. So towards the end of an expansion, I level up my alts and I go and do transmog runs. And one of my transmog runs, I have two accounts that I keep open for transmog runs because I keep a lockout for Siege of Orgrimmar for Gary. for heroic, Gary, and then
I wonder why.
I run 10 warriors and a paladin and a death knight through there just to get these shoulders. Trying to get these shoulders. I've been trying for a while. I have a friend from my raid team, my raid group, that calls, messaged me and says, "Hey, I've cleared it again on Mythic. Why don't you bring one of your tunes in?" So I'm doing that. I'm leveling up a Night Elf Warrior. I'm leveling up a Dark Iron Dwarf at the moment. I've stopped pushing Mythic content, stuff like that. Like I'm not actively going after Mythic content, but there's always that urge to log in my main character and try to get some more powerful gear on that. Other than that, we had a really exciting interview this week, which I'll let Berserker talk about. And other than that, I'm enjoying all the beta stuff. I was invited into the beta and I'm tooling around with that. The game is gorgeous. I can't wait for everybody to be able to jump in and play Shadowlands. And I'm looking forward to leveling 4 tunes through that, because I have a feeling I have to level 4 different warriors so that I can, do the 4 different covenant things. So so that's where I'm at. So I'm going to toss it over to Zerker now.
I surprisingly have also been leveling an alt, which I don't typically do, but thanks to
A gnome?
Hell no.
Oh,
Why is that always the first question?
No.
I'm biased.
gnome.
I love gnomes.
Aren't they patching those out of the game?
Shut your mouth.
I mean, it wouldn't take much.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah,
It'd be a small patch.
But
small
then
patch.
what would we punt?
I don't know. We'll figure something.
Mages.
Yeah. Good call. Yeah. With all of the various XP buffs and bonuses that we get right now, it's almost impossible for me to say that it's too hard to level anything right now. So I've been focusing on this bullshit paladin I've got that's just been hanging out in the back, because got to get some artifact appearances with the rumors or something going on in the beta that we might be able to transmog some stuff around related to artifact appearances. I do love that Ashbringer, and it'd be nice to get some of the good ones.
Wait, did you just say that we'd be able to do cross faction appearances?
No. What they're doing is they're easing off the artifact appearances. I think the rumor is that you can use
like a cross spec or something.
Yeah, cross spec.
Yeah, so like the warrior, for the warrior one, the warrior has this this chain mace and shield, so you could take that single-handed weapon only and transmog it into your your guy, and you use a different shield, so it doesn't have to be a whole set for the
warrior ones are pretty cool. I do like the hidden.
Oh yeah,
I do like the dragon bone.
Well, and that's the thing, because the arms one is really nice and the fury one's really nice, so it'd be cool if you could one of each or something.
Yeah, because I mean, in a way, Anduin is he's more cross class because he's like a priest who can
He's a super priest.
Exactly, super priest. Super.
I mean, you realize that paladins are just warrior priests anyway. Yeah, that's all they are.
Yeah. I'm not mad at that. Honestly, I advocated for Anduin being a paladin because I get the priest aesthetic. He's a priest. They've weighed in on this. They had Abroziabi himself even come in and be like, "Hey, he's a priest." All right, I can't really argue with that.
Only priest in the entirety of lore that can wield a sword.
Yeah, so it's okay. All right, the law has been laid down on that, but so anyway, artifact appearances, been chasing those, trying to get some level up. I want to get the faux corrupted Ashbringer appearance, because I wasn't around in vanilla.
So good, but it
so
takes so much time.
It does, but you know what? It's fine. It's an alt. I'm not really that invested in it other than that for the moment. So we've been doing that. It's kind of been the big thing in game because we're taking a break, got our raid business done, so we're good with that. And then as for Nav and I, Unshackled Fury is our show. You can go out to the Twitters and follow us at Unshackled Fury. That's where we're at. And you can follow me at BerzerkerRage. You can follow Nav, NAV_OX. Give us a follow, give us a shout out, whatever you want. We'll if you tweet at us anything, we'll literally put it on the show. Just show your ass.
Absolutely.
Show it. It's fine. We're desperate for content, just like everybody else.
That's for sure.
Do whatever you gotta do. Just go out there, follow us. BerzerkerRage, Unshackled Fury, NavOx. Yes, and this past week, we interviewed Madeline Rue, author of Shadows Rising. That episode will be out tomorrow, and we had a great time chatting with her about all kinds of stuff, her life, early works, moving into Warcraft, how that happened, because we are a mostly Alliance-centric show. Not gonna dismiss too many of the Horde folk that may be in your audience right now, but Alliance is the best. And we wanted to focus on what's going on with Anduin and what's going on with some of the Alliance stuff that happened in the book and going forward. So we did talk with her about some of that, along with a few other things. So I encourage you folks to check it out. It'll be out tomorrow, Unshackled Fury. And mostly our show is just the two of us talking about what everybody else talks about, the news. And sometimes we'll have something that we want to rage about, and we get crazy about something. And it's, it could be something stupid. Like originally, I think the first one I ever did was about how the beer goggles that you get, the ones that make you think you look drunk during Brewfest, how I thought those were bullshit, because it just takes away the whole purpose. You have to get drunk. You can't have the fun without the pain. And so and then there's other things like we talked about Black Lives Matter, social justice issues. We do feel that that's something that needs to be of import to our community. We talked about that in our last episode. That's why we took a break for a little bit. We wanted to give that some room to breathe. But usually it's just us shooting shit, our experiences of playing the game and things we see around the community. Ro, I think, once said that we're kind of like the shock jock vibe of Warcraft, because
It's a good place to be.
There aren't really too many things that are off topic for us. I mean, we had an episode years ago where we ran an erotic fanfic contest, and I read the winner live on air, and it was a very loving story about Anduin and Wrathion finding each other, and it was beautiful. So we're uncensored. It's how we are. We try not to cross too many lines, but we do get inappropriate from time to time. So if that's your flavor, if that's something that you think might be interesting in the Warcraft vein, then come check us out.
Hell yeah! Now, I did say the one thing about you two. You may have rage, but you've got big hearts, and I've admired about you two.
Dirty lies.
Yep.
No. They may have a rough exterior, but inside it's all mushy. It's like caramel and stuff like that.
No. You're talking to my guy all wrong. That's the wrong tone.
Yeah.
I don't know who that.
For the benefit of the podcast, since we come out on a Wednesday, the show should already be live. For the benefit of YouTube, all the links will be in the description.
That episode was so great. I loved it. You did an amazing job. Really went ways I never expected and gave me some really good insights.
What was this?
Yeah,
I think he's talking about your last episode.
The one that came out before this podcast aired. Yeah.
Oh right, because he's being clever. He's been.
I'm trying to be clever. I'm just.
He's so galaxy brain. He's ahead of what we're actually talking about.
You gotta remember, we have taken so many shots to the head. Like, really, you have to bring it down a level for us because I just.
But yeah, no. I'm still reading through Shadows Rising myself.
Yeah.
I'm. When it comes to the Warcraft novels, it revolves back around to the world being on fire. Normally, I'm traveling a lot, like whether it's to work on public transport or to train to go visit a friend. But because there's none of that right now, I've not been reading it as much. So I'm taking it slowly, and I'm taking a chapter at a time rather than the whole book at once. And I'm really enjoying reading it a little bit more. Like I think I'm only up to chapter 6. So I'm really at the beginning. But I think the best thing I found so far was like the whole look back at the Cataclysm and like, oh, you can get nostalgia driven for classic WoW. Everything that happened pre-Cataclysm. It's a lovely time to remember.
There is a line, I don't want to spoil it, in chapter 1 that I heard when because I'm listening to the audiobook with Susan Wokoma, and I'm still pretty far in. Or still pretty far in the beginning because I've actually been reading another book I'm in a book club with Geek Herring, so I've been reading that right now. But when I heard this line, I was like, yes! I loved what said in that line. I was like, yes!
I agree. I have no idea what you're talking about, but I agree. Frazley,
yes.
What have you been up to in Azeroth this week?
So I've been doing those mount runs myself because right now I want to try to get those mounts down because I've really still a lot of stuff I need to get. So just doing that, and nothing dropped.
Let the anxiety wash over you. I won't get it. Oh God, I'll miss out forever. Oh, no.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, it doesn't happen.
You have to shout, "This won't drop." Before you go to kill the Lich King, you gotta say, "Invincible's never gonna drop."
Oh,
Yeah, you can't keep taking.
You can't just go in there. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't go. Oh, I'm on my way to ICC. Will it drop this week?
No, I do because then it's the way day that it's gonna drop. Like I got Ashes 2 weeks ago. Not a flex. I got Ashes 2 weeks ago, and it's like
Like burn, bro.
Are you?
Hey, I
working
got
on...
this mount that most of you have had for several years, guys. It's like not a flex though.
Are you working on the legendary though, Frazley?
Ooh.
Shadowmourne.
Shadowmourne.
Yes, I need to work on that some more.
It's the only one worth working on.
Okay, so again, I keep telling you every time we talk about this, I was working on Shadowmourne, and when I finished that quest at the very end, because you have to kill Lich King one more time, you get Jaina's locket, you get the cool tabard, and I had Invincible drop for me.
Okay.
Yeah, you get the Crimson Death Charger as well.
Ooh, because I'm like 3 away from getting the big 200 amounts on one character achievement.
You also get Uther's Tabard.
Yep.
Ooh.
You get the Tabard of the Lightbringer.
Yeah.
You get the Sylvanas music toy. You get the portal thing.
Yeah, the Hearthstone, the necklace.
You
It's
get
a necklace that takes you to
something
Dalaran.
something about Sylvanas, something about Jaina, something about Muradin. You get the Death Charger, and you get the Uther Tabard. There's like
It's
5
worth
things
it.
you
It
get.
really is worth it to do it in this downtime. Seriously, I mean,
Yeah.
Just do it for the lore.
you know,
Well, and the fact that you get a legendary, which you can now transform as
transmog.
well. To be
Yep.
fair.
Yeah, that is true. Because I've got the quest sitting there. I should work on that.
Right. Haven't
No.
changed it in years.
I also went into the beta and I did like the scenarios and some different things, like looked around the Ouroboros, and one moment I did this really cool bug in the beta when I went over somewhere and they were all duplicated.
Stop giving away the secrets, man.
Pete, you'll need to bleep that out. I'm sorry.
I don't need to. You did it for me myself. I don't.
You give away. You never.
Oh no!
That
the editing technique where you give me the audio file and I just make it lip sync up to the actual video file. Oh no, my secrets are
You're
gone.
ruining the. You should show me about how the sausage is being made.
Exactly.
But like these NPCs were duplicated, and when I did that one, the firepower against the mobs, it was really cool. I mean, it was a bug, of course, but it was just like. I was like,
I'm waiting for character transfers to go over.
yeah.
Like once the character transfers are live, I'm going to go through because I want to see the average power that my main at like 476 is going to go through and level. But then the way I'm going to do it this time is that I'm going to experience the storylines on the beta because I'm going to blast through them on live anyway. Well, it's a race to get to 60 anyway, and then I'm going to be in endgame content, and I'm not going to level an alt for ages, so I may as well experience it, while I've got months ahead of time.
That's what I messaged Zerker last night, I believe. I sent him a message saying, you know what, I'm doing beta and I'm reading all of the quest text because when I go through it, when I go through and I level, I just run up to an exclamation mark. I go and do the quest and hand stuff in.
Savor the journey. Did you people learn nothing in Pandaria?
Well,
I know
that.
I mean,
I don't know. The point is to get to the the very end so you can start doing dungeon runs so you can prepare to be ready to raid.
So we can start getting sick of Mythic Plus before a week's gone by.
I have a solution for that. Don't do it anyway.
Yeah, there you go.
That's why I don't do it. I don't need some snotty wowhead article telling me I need to change my class so I can go do Mythic Plus.
And then you have to also have to download the Raider IO because if you're not a certain score in Raider IO, they won't pick you up.
Only if you puck. Cool.
Oh, did you see there is feedback on the forums that they wanted to be able to see which covenant you were in tooltips? And
I mean, yeah, and this is part of the problem that we were talking about last week with like leaving covenant stuff outside of instanced. Like, I know Zerker's got some feelings on this. We chatted about it on the pre-show, but I think it leads to like this. It's the same thing with gear score, like back in Wrath. You know, it'll lead to the same problems. Yeah, I know, right? Like, eventually there's just going to be problems. You know,
Yeah.
It's not going to matter so much at the beginning because they'll get people because they just can't be bothered to wait in a queue for fucking forever, and then when it gets to the end of expansion, everybody will be like, they won't care. Go on, Nav. Go on.
The devs will work with it. I mean, the game. The nice thing about WoW is that it's always evolving. They're always looking for ways to improve it. And they said they're not too concerned about balance right now. They're concerned about getting the content out there for people to test with. Once it goes live, they'll work on balancing everything. Maybe they'll come up with a different solution for switching covenants later on. You know, I'm not too concerned about that. I already have my covenant picked out. I already know I'm going Kyrian. I already know that. You know, that's what I'm doing, because everybody's like, oh, you can go be play with the vampires. I'm like, no, fuck that. I can't stand vampires. Like, seriously, I just can't. Like, I can't stand them at all. The Night Fae look really cool, so I'm leveling up a Night Elf Warrior for that, because I like the Night Elf aesthetic. I like the neon glow. I love all that stuff about it. They're very pretty race. They're
I really hope that your Night Elf Warrior is going to have the flowers in their hair.
Well, they have the leaves. They have that. You can
that's
do.
True. Yeah,
They have the leaves. You can put the leaves in your hair. You can make a leaf necklace.
So many great customization.
And you can change the eye colors on them now too. So it's not just the white. You could have like blue or yellow. I mean, it's really cool. And you can do the scars on the face, and it's really.
They've got the special burn as well.
Yeah, the Teldrassil. It's actually called Teldrassil. Yeah.
It's really cool. Customizations are just out of the park.
Oh yeah.
Right now.
I'm still waiting for a human with a mohawk.
Mr. T.
No, that's a Night Elf mohawk, Frazley.
Right.
Oh.
Mr. T's Night Elf mohawk. But what I'm saying is, if you go look at the dwarfs, you can make this Wildhammer look.
That is
the
true.
Dwarves look amazing. Like, they look crazy amazing. So I want the big hair mohawk for humans or something.
I think the only thing I'm asking for as more optional choice stuff. I mean, there's obviously more customization coming. They seem to keep adding stuff in each beta patch. The only thing I want as a choice right now added is for Demon Hunters and Death Knights, once they've finished their starting zone once, to have the option to start at level 1 and do stuff like Exile's Reach and the other starting zones. Mostly because I'm sick of going to pre-Cataclysm and doing old school Death Knight. I honestly,
you're sacrificing everything there, so.
Well, obviously, but like I started up a Goblin Death Knight because I was like, I just want the Goblin Heritage, and I got into that area and I'm like, this place looks like absolute dog turd. Like, it's pre-Cataclysm. When you get to pre-Cataclysm, Light's Hope Church, it's so bad. It looks terrible.
Well, a lot of bad things happen there, so.
I mean, I think it's literally the only remnant of pre-Cataclysm that exists in the modern game.
Elwyn Forest?
Yeah, no, but all the trees and the textures got updated in Elwyn Forest. Yeah, I mean, it's mostly untouched, but with the exception of the starting zone, where the orcs have invaded, like that starting zone area, Elwyn Forest is mostly untouched, just level scaled, but the trees are all updated.
You know, actually, there is a lot of old school stuff that hasn't been updated in the starting zones. Like I said, the Night Elf leveling zone, when I went to go level there this past week, starting out there from 1, a lot of the stuff hasn't been updated.
I'll tell you one thing that hasn't been updated, and I only noticed it because I flew up to it when I was doing the Blood Elf heritage armor with the quest. The trees in the Blood Elf starting zone and around the edge of the Sunwell are so bad. They're literally papercraft trees.
So are you still grounded, or can you fly in? I haven't been over there in forever.
Yeah, still grounded.
You're still grounded in any TBZ zone. So
I gotcha.
Exodar and the 2 islands, Silver Moon City, them and Sunwell Plateau.
The only way to fly in that zone is to take the Flight Master from Quel'Danos, which I've been doing because I want that stupid Baron to drop his mount.
But yeah, no, I mean,
it's a good mount.
It is.
I've
you
enjoyed
got
it for years.
Which one? Frazley?
The Rivendare's Charger.
Oh, Rivendare's Charger. Yeah, I love that mount. Never.
Oh, I need to get that because then I can stop going to Stratholme. I'm like that close.
Classic.
Yeah, I've added more to my mount hunting this week. Like, I'm still doing me 3 Pandaria world bosses, but I've decided to be an absolute lunatic and start doing the garrison invasions.
Okay.
So I've done about 5 to 6 new garrisons on my army of alts. Got them all ready to do invasions and just go and pick a quest and disappear off to another part of... Like, it's really funny because the guards in your garrison level up to 120, but the mobs that invade, they don't level above 100.
Oh.
So you can literally just AFK in the garrison and
Wow.
let all of your guards just do the work now. And you'll platinum these things with like a minute, 2 minutes to go now.
I've actually not done. I mean, I haven't touched that since WoD. Like, honest to God. So that's interesting.
I say you must be bored as hell if you're scraping the bottom of that barrel doing garrison invasions. My
Well,
God.
I mean, the other option right now is to go and do the Ny'alotha assaults for mount farming, or literally do. I think I've got enough coalescing visions to do enough runs in visions to get 100k mementos for the mount, and I could do that in one blow. But my sanity is not there to do that. Because that is a grind I'm just not willing to do in one sitting.
No.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I'm
Not
all
not at 20 to 30 minutes a run. No. But it's really funny because literally picking up the quest to go to an area in Draenor, going and doing that quest and getting back is still less time than the invasion takes to do. Because the invasion's on a fixed timer for part 3. So, but yeah, I've done that. I jumped over Horde side to try and get some of the Horde specific mounts. Getting exalted with the Unshackled in Nazjatar is easy now that they've added the BOA thing. So I just need the pearls for the 250 because the actual rep mount for Horde and Alliance you can actually use cross faction. So I've just got to go pearl farming on the Horde side, and I put the tracker in for the Pterodax egg, which is a rare drop from because it's a Horde only mount for Kuothon, and I got it within 260 kills of putting the actual tracker on. So started that. There's 30 days of dailies to do, and I've got another mount. So
Nice.
it's all good. The mount farming
hardcore,
continues.
brother. That's a lot. That's way more than I'm doing.
It took me about 5 hours to do most of that on one day. I think yesterday.
Hey, whatever floats your boat. Chase amounts.
As I said,
yeah.
I think those of us that raid are all pretty much done. Like we finished heroic raiding 6 weeks into the patch, so it's just been jump on and do whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And there's just so much to do in the game, so there's something for everybody to do. There's something for everybody to do. So,
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely with you guys definitely with you, Nav, about having a version of my main in every Covenant. Because there's obviously going to be that achievement for seeing all the Covenant stories.
Right.
I think I'm going to go with my main, because I play a Demon Hunter as a main now since I transitioned from Priest, and I think I'm going to be going Night Fae because the hunt just looks because it's obviously ripped from Heroes of the Storm for what Illidan can do about jumping across the map. So.
yeah.
But it looks real good. It looks like a lot of fun, and the fact that it just gets around a lot of stuff. But then I'll just level one up for all the other ones and enjoy all the Covenant stories. I think at some point, enjoy it. It's all good.
And that is definitely WoW has a lot of things. I'm loving going back to do a lot of collectibles, and even I talked with Dragon After Dark, and I'm tempted to go back in and do more pet battles. I mean, there's a lot of systems that if you're into them are amazing, but you have to it has to be enough of what you want to do.
Yeah, I can't do pet battling. Not to shit on pet battling. It's just my friends keep telling me to do pet battling, and they mail me pets. They give me pets. They're like, you should do this. Download this app. You'll have fun. You're gonna have fun doing this. Every time I go and do pet battling, I never have fun doing it. So it's just not for me. But chasing down a pair of shoulders or something, trying to get that, other sparkly that I can transmog. All me all day long on alt.
What are you going to do once you eventually get the Garrosh shoulders? What are you going to do?
Nothing at all, because I don't play Horde. You get them so you have them, and then you have them, and that's it. I'm not going to they look stupid on a human. They look stupid on
That is true.
I wonder if they look good
How dare you?
I wonder if they look good on a Cold Tyrann or something, because
they have broader shoulders.
yeah, they have broader shoulders. Exactly. They have broader shoulders. And I leveled up a Mag'har orc.
Yeah.
Just so that I could get the what do you call it? Their
Heritage?
Thank you. Heritage armor. That looks amazing. And I imagine the shoulders with that would look really cool too. So
if I remember reading, don't the Mag'har orc actually get, like, once you unlock the heritage armor, you can actually go and buy other variants of the heritage armor for, like, the other class types?
What?
Like, yeah, I think there's a heritage armor.
Me.
I think for the I'm quite sure I either had a fucking lucid dream about it or I've read it somewhere. They have a heritage armor pretty much for, like, each of the different types of, like, the Mag'har races. So I think there's, like, different options. I'll have to have a look at it for it. But I've got so much to level. I cannot be bothered to level anything else until Shadowlands pre-patch comes out, because
and
I've got 20 classes on Alliance alone, and, like, without having the extra 3 on Horde side.
do you have any character boosts? I have like 4 of them stacked up from the last 4 expansions. I haven't used any of them. I don't know why I'm not using them. It's like
I haven't bought Shadowlands yet, so I'll obviously get one with that.
Yeah, I need to start using them. I don't know why I'm saving them, because I have almost all my character slots filled up on one server.
Because when they introduce Vrykul, you want to bust that fucker up as quick as possible.
Mate,
yeah,
Vrykul, if they're as lean as humans but have the broadness of a Cold Tyrann, I think they'll be amazing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We we needed a big barbarian looking class, because the Draenei just don't cut it. You've got you look at the Horde and you've got orcs. Orcs look amazing. They're big, they're broad, and you also have the Tauren that are, gigantic and broad. We have Cold Tyrann and pandas. It's like,
Pandas are fun though. Like especially like the only panda I have is, no, I tell a lie. I've got 2 pandas. I've got a panda warrior and I've got a panda shaman. And the panda warrior, I as a female, like, I'm not sure if the male ones are the same, but the female animations as a warrior are just amazing.
Oh, the big swooshing sword stuff. Yeah.
They're just gorgeous.
Yeah.
And I was wondering about the Gary shoulders with the male panda, actually, because they're probably broad enough.
Probably.
It's just unfortunately, because Blizzard refuses to let us actually have, like, chest armor which doesn't look like it's tattooed onto their actual flesh.
Yeah, and I got the I went through and made sure that the one thing I wanted out of the game was, when I saw it at BlizzCon, was the Alliance plate armor that the elite set that you could get.
The Warfront stuff?
The Warfront elite set. Yep. And I made sure I was able to get that. And I've been in that. That's all I transmog into now. I mean, it looks amazing. Because you get the big bulky shoulders, That's so, yeah.
I think plate's been treated really well in terms of transmog this
big
expansion.
time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I won't disagree with that. I think it's been treated very well.
Yeah, we were pretty excited from the beginning about the Warfronts. I mean, I've expressed my displeasure somewhat with how that ended up playing out, but the transmog.
Oh yeah, the transmog is amazing. Yeah, no, absolutely.
So that gives us a lot of hope, and I think the things that we're seeing out of Shadowlands kind of continuing into that. Our team's dialed in. I don't know what's going on over there, but they're
absolutely. I mean, the art team's. I mean, I think there's 2 constants in Warcraft. Its music's good and the art team's spot on.
Yeah.
Like, I think those are the 2.
Yeah, Team 2 does a very good job of that.
Yeah, I think the only complaint that we've sort of had is that, especially for myself, is I feel like there are a lot of good warrior looks that end up going to the Death Knights. And then I'm like, damn, that would have been pretty badass to have that on a warrior.
Yeah.
But I see how it goes. We just got to be the generic dudes in brown, and everybody else gets the sweet
that's
skulls hanging off of them and like blood dripping out and all the badassery going on. No, they get to be the Frazetta paintings. We get to be
and that's exactly what I'm looking for.
Some other shit.
That's exactly it.
So it has at times this specific vein. Has been less than amazing, but for the most part, it's been pretty good, especially with the Warfront armor, the Legion stuff, the Legionnaire stuff. It's been great.
So, what's your favorite warrior set
of all time?
Yeah,
ICC heroic, not 25, not the red one, but the orange one. And
I think I have that by now, probably.
Yeah,
is that the one with the broken? Is that the one with the broken horn?
It's got one broken horn.
Yeah,
just like me.
Yeah, so, that is a good looking.
Right.
I'm a big fan of Mr. Pandaria challenge mode.
Oh yes, that is the black, the all black.
Get rid of that shitty helm, and the rest of the set just looks amazing.
And they actually redid that helm. I'm sorry, they redid that set. And the only thing that's different, the only thing that was different was the short ear, what I call the Optimus Prime ears that they put on top of the head are just a little bit shorter.
I didn't like the fact that they. I mean, there's always going to be a fact of something that we don't like. Like, it's nice that they made the Phoenixes available to everybody, like instead of just the one, so you could just go out and buy it. But I would have liked it that if I did challenge modes on one character, that A, I had the challenge mode ports across my account, and B, if I had a class that was at that level, I could get the gear for it instead of trying to like run every. I only managed 3 classes through challenge modes in the end. Which is why I appreciated what they did for Warlords, where it's just like, here's a box of transmoggable weapons.
Yeah.
Much better. Oh, goodness. Mr. Frazley.
Yes.
Sorry. Mux Frazley,
yes.
I should say. You're a little bit quiet over there.
I'm just listening. I'm just getting all like listening to all this transmog because like.
Well, Frazley, I know you play a warrior. So what's your favorite?
You're transmogging that sweet ass hat.
Yes, I want a hat like this. Come on now. What I want is I want you to be able to transmog whatever you want in the game, whatever gender you want. I'm of that. I want to be able to like. If I want to wear a dress one day, so I'm not making a joke. I'm being serious. That's where I want transmog to go. I want if you pick up a piece of mail in your plate, you get that. If you pick up a piece of cloth, you get that. I do understand current content locking it to everything, but if it's in legacy, let us get whatever we want.
I guess the closest that you'll ever get as a warrior is paladin robes, isn't it?
Well, there's lots of dresses there.
Okay,
good.
Well, if you want a cloth helm for a warrior, there is a cloth helm you can get. It's a white cloth helm that you can quest and get. I forget what it's called, but I ended up getting it after saw my friend Jer wearing it.
Yeah, they've changed a lot of stuff to be some cosmetic rewards for a few things, haven't they?
That's right. Yeah, because there's one in the Legion opening scenario for Alliance that because you go and find out the unfortunate news of one of the husbands of a.
I've still got that locket somewhere on a character, sitting in a bank somewhere.
And you're never gonna let the poor widow know about her husband.
Well, I've already done it on like 3 characters. I don't care.
What if she forgets and this other character? Because every character's. I know. You heartless bastard, huh? Go on.
Fucking hell, Frazley coming at me with words.
This is why we threw your tea in the harbor.
I mean,
you heartless bastard.
Waste of pretty good tea, if you ask me.
It wasn't even that good.
Oh, I don't. Okay, everybody, I'll see y'all next week.
Ooh.
I told you, you brought this on yourselves.
But yeah, no, I will actually say the transmog that I'm running, believe it or not, is still the BlizzCon Wendigo Woolly. I run that everywhere.
I believe that. I 100% believe that.
Do you know what I wanted to buy, but I did not have the funds for?
A Wendigo Woolly?
I wanted to buy that damn Murloc costume from BlizzCon, the one that like you get to wear. I wanted that because it's like $500 to $1,000. I wanted that.
What? Wait, what?
That's how much it costs to buy the card with the code and
or a digital item.
Yeah, for a digital item, that's how much is going on eBay. I don't have that fund.
Are you talking about the bear?
No, not the bear. There's a Murloc costume you can wear.
Yeah.
The one that turns you into King Murgle thing.
Just play that quest in Borean Tundra. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
That one, I enjoyed that one a lot. But like, I would love to have another one of those. But like, I'm not.
$1,000?
Yeah, 500 to 1,000. Like cheap as it was a 500.
Isn't the Spectral Tiger still about 1,500 plus these days?
Yeah. And like I said, I'm not buying that. I can't afford that, and I'm not buying that. If anything, I'm going to put it into upgrades for what I do. I'm not putting that.
Yeah,
it's people. When it comes to stuff like this, it's people that buy the things to resell it with intent to resell. That just I don't get sometimes, because it's like, yeah, I'll buy 2 versions of a collector's edition thing. One so I can put it on my shelf and never open anyway, and then one so I can resell it straight away, or down the line, just leave it in a box somewhere. It's just like it's the same thing with hoarding stuff, I think, just in real life and in the game. It's just like, when are you ever gonna use it? Like, it just sits there.
It's why we have some of the issues with our
but it's mine.
Yeah, okay. It's yours.
That's all that
matters. But like, I mean, I get keeping legendaries and artifacts, because they're stuff that you're never gonna they're part of the game,
Mm-hmm.
Like you've got to earn that. But like, especially now that transmog is a thing, this is why they put in void storage, to get gear out of your bank and put
void
it somewhere.
storage. Oh, I haven't visited that one in a while.
Yeah.
Have you avoided it?
I have avoided the void because I don't even remember what's there now.
Probably all the legendaries from Legion.
Well,
and they're all rotting away or rusting away.
I don't. Yeah, good question. I should check this out.
Like I think if I go check at my priest, it's still got like my gear sets that I'd kept throughout the years. But like, I mean, there's something I want to pick up. Can they please take away the unique thing on void storage, just so I can move my legendaries and everything that I keep like that?
That's why they're adding the appearance.
What? Yeah, but I still want to keep my Ragnaros, my Dragon Wrath.
Okay, I can understand that.
I'm talking about, like, if you can't put stuff in void storage, which is classified as a unique item, which means that your artifact, like, is always gonna sit in your bank because you can't put it in void storage.
I thought that was just some kind of technological problem that they it was a programming issue, not like a choice.
No,
issue.
it was, but like it was a technological thing, but it was also before the transmogrification system came into the game.
Yeah, it
predates that.
It just seems odd. I mean, I guess to your point, that they would force you to delineate what kind of storage that you're using, especially now. But then again, it's also, I suppose, a question of resources. Who's going to go in and change all that when instead we're working on how to piss people off, apparently, with 4 covenants, which I think are great. But yeah.
Right, I'm going to say it because I said it on the pre-show, all right? From a story perspective, it's fine. I get it. I just don't want it to affect instanced content.
Why?
Yeah. I don't want it in raids. I don't want it in dungeons.
Why not?
I don't want it in PvP. Really? Okay. Well, you probably don't get this because you don't play a caster and you play a warrior. But if you ever played a caster and you come across a fucking Death Knight and they're from fucking Maldraxxus and they've got a fucking third limb, you ain't ever gonna do anything against that Death Knight because it's just gonna yank you across the field.
Okay.
Okay, it's fun for you as a Death Knight. It's not fun for that fucker who's got to try and like heal his team or deal with damage.
They give those fools all kinds of other advantages. It's balanced. Come on. I can't believe you'd say such a thing. This is the most balanced game in history.
The emails we're gonna get that
you heard it.
You will get.
You heard it here first.
Why?
They've done nothing wrong.
Why can't a fucking class just be a fucking class?
Why can't warriors just stomp on mages or anybody in a cloth?
I mean,
like
I've
in a
been
robe.
asking for a headbutt for years.
I mean, I just want classes to be on a level playing field that I can go and look at a log from a demon hunter in another guild, and be like, my damage is here and his damage is there. And the only thing that stops my damage being different is that I'm pressing the wrong buttons.
Well, And you're not even talking about the different height advantages on the cameras. As a gnome, my camera's shorter.
You can't be a gnome demon hunter.
I know.
Even Murlocs have got better rights than you. Murlocs can be demon hunters.
That's right.
I mean, that sounds more like a you problem than a we problem. Honestly, I hate to tell you. I mean, I understand your point, but there's always going to be, it's either everybody's the same and there's literally no difference and it's not compelling, or there's going to be differences. And I think like with the covenants, for instance.
But they can keep differences. I'm not arguing for no differences. I'm arguing for no differences in instanced content.
Well, again, it takes away all of the, I don't know, illusion of choice, I guess, is always a topic of conversation. But, you know, they have to have some amount of variability in there, or else it's just, you're just looking at the numbers. Then it becomes a math equation and it stops being about an RPG, right? It's, I do 100, you do 100. Okay, cool. Let's keep going. As opposed to, oh shit, I got a little bit different here or a little bit different there. Like, it makes it more interesting. It's more compelling that way. Like, but I can understand that to some degree, but I don't know. I also don't go through the numbers. I really don't care about that stuff. I'm just like, does it feel good? Yes.
Did you feel it? Did you feel it was compelling enough back in original TBC, Wrath, Cataclysm, Mr. Pandaria, when the RPG choice was your character? That was the only thing that differentiates.
We always had choices, but what it was and what it always will be is elitist theory crafters going around and saying, this is the only way to play. This is the only thing to do. And that's what's going to happen with these covenants. No matter what happens, it's going to be, this is the one and only way to play this game. And there are always going to be people like that. And I weep for them because it takes away, I think, a lot of the fantasy that many of us enjoy from trying to get away from stuff like that. I'm not going to focus in on that. And there's people that do, and God bless them. But there has to be something a little bit more than that. And to me, I didn't have to do these things on a talent tree as a warrior when I was coming up in, you know, expansions past. I did them because I was essentially forced to by my raid team. When I first came in, I was like, oh, this is what I'm going to do as a warrior. And I was doing fine. I was playing the game, having fun. But then my raid team, my raid leaders are like, no, if you're going to raid in this raid, this is exactly how you have to do this thing. And that is the way it has always been once you get to a certain tier. And I don't think that that's the right way to play it, but there's always going to be those people, no matter what you do. That doesn't matter. There's always going to be a buff or a food or a trick, or, you know, someone's got a special bandana on, or they hit the Konami code or some shit, and it's going to be the best way. You know what I mean? So I forget all that. Make it fun. Do whatever you got to do. Let the people worry about, you know, homogenization somewhere down the road with their milk. That's fine.
I will only be with people who drink 2% milk. So I'm sorry.
Oh, we can't be friends then, Frazley, I'm afraid.
Oh, do you do whole milk or do you do skim milk?
Semi-skimmed.
Okay.
I don't know. I think I'm going to agree to disagree, only from the fact that when it comes to playing my main character, I want it to be the best I can be. And unfortunately, with the way that the game is going to be in it, like, I honestly don't give a shit about out in the world, you know? Like, I can turn PvP on or PvP off, and if I have PvP on, I got to live with the problems that comes with. So if I lose to a warrior who's decided to be ex-Covenant and they have that advantage over the way I've gone with my Covenant, that's the thing I have to live with. That's that choice I make. But in instant content, I'd like to think that I'm given the choice to be against another demon hunter out in the world who only advantage is going to be gear and how hard they can push the button on the keyboard.
In a perfect world, that would be nice, but there's all other kinds of things that influence. Hell, your internet connection affects that.
Oh,
that is true,
right? Yeah. So I mean, it's just again, it's. I appreciate the impossible task that you're trying to set up for yourself. It's just really, really hard, I think, to create the environment that you're talking about. Not that it shouldn't be something like, to your point, there should not be an I win button when it comes to a covenant, right? There shouldn't be some ability that's so amazing and so great everywhere that if you have it, you are literally unbeatable in every scenario. They should try to at least balance out, well, here's a counter to that, or there's something that you can do. And I think that's where class forums are phenomenal in other places.
I really feel sorry for anybody who pugs dungeon content and looks in their group finder and it's just like, it's gonna be like Raider.io 1500, Venthyr required for teleport or GTFO.
It's coming, you know it. It's unfortunate, but that is how it'll go.
Because I do get the idea on it. I remember when I was on Azeroth Roundtable, and I remember it was either John or Ben mentioned each class being able to do something different in that dungeon, and I think that's initially where they were going with like the different covenants being able to do something special in that dungeon. They mentioned like opening up a locked door as a rogue.
Well, you know, the nice thing about having the variety is that if everybody's the same thing, then it's a little boring. I mean, to be honest, everybody wants to feel like a hero in game. That's why you have the different classes, and you know, each class in each covenant's going to bring a different flavor to that experience, to that dungeon, to that instance. And I think, you know, in the long run, that's going to, you know, be a better game experience for everybody.
Because there is a thing like if we are going back to RPG stuff, when I was doing D&D, each of our classes could do something different. Like I could kill a mob as a bard by mocking them, and I could heal a friend by singing to them. And like one of my friends was saying in their D&D group, they were able to take down like three mobs with one of their things. So I mean, those D&D has that ability to be different, but balancing it in a game like we have, where we have all these different things, that is the tricky part.
Yeah.
I feel the biggest problem is that Blizzard have dug this hole for themselves because they said they want to bring back an RPG feel. Now, if this was a Warcraft for single player RPG experience with 4 Covenant choices, I don't think anybody would give a shit, because it's a single player experience where those choices would actually define how it plays. The problem is that because they're trying to do it in a form of multiplayer game where the choices, they will actually matter because it's a term of borrowed power once again. You know, it's something that we're going to have to live with through an expansion, which is unfortunate. # bin borrowed power. I'm tired of it. It's another argument I can go through, but I don't think anybody would care if this was a single player experience in the form of Divinity and that sort of gameplay style, where you could have a Covenant choice and actually experience 4 different stories in that sort of setting. But we're going to experience this in a setting which we then go and experience with other players, and it's not going to be, oh, my Covenant had this brilliant story to do with X, Y, and Z, when it's really going to be, oh, my Venthyr Covenant, you know, Kael'thas Sunstrider did this wacky thing this week, you know, and there's going to be someone that's going to be big for everything, and everybody's going to really understand that story, you know. It's not going to be a wild variety of, you know, it's not just Kael'thas for Venthyr, but we're also going to go and see more about some of the San Lane, you know, because they're derivative of Venthyr, like Venthyr facts and everything that they can do as sort of vampire elves, you know. It's like it's everybody's going to experience the same story regardless, and people like me, people like Nav, not sure if Frazley and Berserker are going to go around the circle and experience all the other covenants, because everybody's still going to experience the story.
Oh yeah, no, I'm going to all the covenants because I want to farm and
well, I think everybody's going to do that though. Initially, you're gonna get to experience all of them initially, and then at the end, you're going to choose one.
Though, I think you have an initial story, but I don't think you're going to experience some of the other things inside of it, because like each of them has their own stuff, and I feel like
I think that's something they've discussed in a recent interview. I think it was with Preach or it was someone else that they brought up the fact of we don't really get to experiment with the Covenant powers on leveling through. It's literally just we get a taste of what this Covenant's ideals are as they show us part of the story to deal within that zone, and then the end game Covenant story is expanding upon what we've seen a part of.
Yeah, that's what you'll be doing, like the weekly anima gathering and turning on all those, restoring the flow of anima in whatever zone you're in.
That looked pretty cool. That reminded me of like Throne of Thunder progression stuff and Fireland. You know, the Firelands instanced area on Hyjal. That reminded me a lot of stuff like that. That I'm interested in. You know, that could be really cool. But it's just I'm worried that we're just gonna have very linear progression that's not really an RPG choice other than I'm red, you're blue, he's green, and he's red. You know, like
I think it's up to you. Honestly, I think it's up to the player. I mean, Nav knows. I mean, I guess Nav can vouch for me. I don't really give a shit. Like, if one is more powerful than the other, I don't care. I just want to play the one. I mean, that's the thing. Is there is a line of delineation for players where I think a lot of times those of us of a certain knowledge base get really laser focused in on what is best as opposed to what is most fun. Sometimes that can be like that's a Venn diagram, right? Sometimes that can be the same thing of what is most fun for me is when I am at the best, you know, min-maxing, like that's my game, that's my jam. I loved reforging. I want to be able to have all of this control and really figure this out. There are people that love that game, and God bless all of you that do. I think a lot of us don't, because it's like, I just want to wear what looks cool and what feels good, and can I throw a spear and like blow some dudes up? Like that's my jam. Let's go. Do I get my ass kicked in war mode? I will anyway, because I suck. It has nothing to do with the choices I'm making. I'm just bad. So let her rip. And that's, you know, I think that's the way it is for most people. They just want to do what's most fun. It is interesting that they're making 4 choices available for what road you want to take, whereas the closest analogy that we've used is Aldor Scryer going all the way back to BC. And
that's terrible.
Most people picked one, and I can't remember why we picked it, but we did. And it was almost impossible to go back, but it worked out. The game kept going. People were fine, you know.
Yeah,
and
but there was no power game behind whichever one you chose. There was just recipes.
Yeah, and how exciting was that?
I mean, true.
It wasn't.
I'm not going to disagree with this, but
yeah,
I think the argument that sits behind it is that the power can be too much. Like I feel like if Aldor or Scryer had actual, you know, if TBC came out instead of Shadowlands, and they did Aldor and Scryer with no power games, but they actually done proper cosmetic customization choices, you know, would that be good? But like to update it, like what would it be? Would Aldor be Lightforged Draenei, and would the other one be like Void Elves? You know, would we actually be investigating different story? Like the choices between Aldor and Scryer meant fuck all, because there was no story progression behind it. Like, you did the thing in Shatrath and it affected a minimal story in Shadowmoon Valley, which you still saw on both sides anyway. The quest was still the same. Like, it's definitely a story choice. There's a cosmetic choice between what we're doing. I think that alone is cool. And I have a feeling that regardless of the 4 demon hunters I'm going to have, 1 in each covenant, you know, I get the feeling that until the end of the expansion, we're not going to see the outfits cross comparable. Like, I'm not going to be in Night Fae and be able to use the Kyrian armor transmog, you know, while I'm in that covenant. Like, I don't think that's going to be a thing until we get to that end game, like, and we're outside of that story.
Silly
premise.
season.
Yeah. Like once we get into 9.0, they'll probably remove that restriction and go, hey, you know, they'll probably be like there is a feat of strength for one character hitting max renown with a covenant and changing factions. So you've done one thing with everybody, you know? There'll probably be that thing, and that'll be a cool thing to have on the account. But
that is one thing that I like about Final Fantasy 14. I don't mean to keep harping on about the game, but I like that you can change your jobs and your classes.
That's because the game is built differently. Like, everything's built around one character, you know, and that allows your one character to do everything. Now, as much as I'd love a lot of the way that Final Fantasy 14 does things, and I said this previously in WoW, there's a lot of stuff that WoW does better than Final Fantasy 14, the transmog system being a bigger part of that.
Yeah, because I didn't get much into glamour.
Yeah, you need consumables to put it into your stuff, and then you can build stuff based on what you've turned into a glamour. So it's all good. But
now I did like being able to dye stuff. Like I had this gorgeous
that would be nice to be able to do. Wow,
it all comes down to customization promise, and I think part of the thing is that back end system isn't in the game, and like the engine might not be ready for it. You know, that's why they keep putting out X armor with different color permeations because the dye system doesn't work. But that, you know, it just gives you a reason to go transmog hunting and doing like LFR, normal, heroic, and mythic. Just
that is true. And some of this stuff is like reasons to keep people playing, because I know I can, by the end of the 4 covenants, get people still playing so that way people don't unsub once they do everything.
Yeah, unfortunately, we get onto the cynical side of why they do these things, you know? Like, this is the thing, like, since we've started this borrowed power stuff in Legion, like, a lot of the reasoning has turned on to being, it's just to keep you playing. Like, why is everything time-gated? Well, it's to keep you subbed. Why does Blizzard do a 6-monthly sub deal with the mount? It's to keep you paying for the game, even though you might not play it. It's a very cynical way of looking at things, as true as it may or may not be. It's a very cynical way of looking at things. Why do we have to gain renown with a given faction when we can only gain so much per week? It's to keep you playing. I mean, sure. But then if you're still paying, like, I'm quite sure people have got the common sense and the fucking monetary propriety to be able to turn around and go, I'm sick of this shit. I'm going to go pay for a game I actually like to play and go and play something else.
Well, that's the thing with WoW. WoW's designed to keep you in game and keep you playing. If you're enjoying it, that's one thing. But as a consumer, you also have the right to vote with your wallet. You can say, I don't want to do that, you know? So, you know, like this time around, I didn't get I didn't pay for a 6-month. I let my 6-month sub expire, so I didn't get the mount this time. And it's not that big of a deal for me. But if it was a mount that, you know, screamed to me, that it was like, you know, I go for the alliance based mount. So if they wanted to, you know, sell me on one, they would have slapped an alliance symbol on the side of that thing, and I would have been like 6 months in a heartbeat.
But it's gnome. It's a gnome dragon.
Yeah, it's a gnome one.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. At the end of the day, why are they doing this? It's a business.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
I know that's not great to think about all the time, because there are a lot of talented artists who are part of all of this, who they're not motivated by profit margins. They're motivated by creating something amazing and beautiful and fun and giving it to us. But the people who ultimately make the decisions, that is what they think about. And that's why you make these things, because if you wanted people just to enjoy them, you'd put it out for free.
Yeah.
If that was your whole thing, for the love of it, it's like people who just want to make music or just want to write just for the sake of it. You just put it out for free. But that's
like, I'm gonna plug a chat room I used to be a part of called Virtual Paradise, and the developer of that has been developing it for years, and they do it because for free, because they enjoy it. People have always said, hey, do you ever want to monetize it? And like, nope. And people will just build their things in there. I mean, I was in it for quite a bit, but like, yeah. And Blizzard wants to they don't want to just be bootstrapped.
Well, and here's the thing to think about too. Look at the environment we're in, right? You've got high unemployment, you've got layoffs, you've got people losing their jobs, you've got all kinds of stuff. If you're a business and you have thousands of employees, you're looking to maintain a steady stream of revenue. And if you're promoting ways in which you can forecast and look at that and say, okay, you know, we've got so many people locked into 6 months as opposed. I mean, think about if you ran a business where everything was on a subscription month to month, and you're like, well, China's done, so that's 10 million accounts that are gonna not be paying $15 a month or whatever they pay, right? That's a terrible way to run things, and it puts your people at a tremendous amount of risk, and there's a lot of anxiety as an employee because you're like, shit, I don't know what's going on. So
Yeah.
that there's part of it that has to be driven by finances, and it's ugly and it's awkward and it's sometimes really sucks, but that is, I mean, that is part of what they have to do. And you know, I think that at times we kind of confuse reasons. Sometimes we have to guess because we don't know, but things like gating how much of something you can do in a week, I think that part of that truly is born out of the fact that they don't want people burning out and going, well, if I'm part of this mythic raid team, I'm going to have to do this for the next 50 hours, over a certain amount of days, or else I'm not going to be able to.
Wasn't it?
Right. And so if you limit that to some extent and you say, okay, well, this is only so much you can do, it keeps your people from just dying on the vine, man. Because that's really and it's a small percentage, but it's out there, and they have to be cognizant of that, because these are also the people going out there and talking about it and interviewing them on their streams and generating interest in revenue. So it's a give and take to some extent.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. There's a lot in what you're saying, like about not getting people to burn out, but then, I mean, the alts. I think this is a large part of where not only have the people playing the game grown up and their time become used for different ways. You know, I mean, we were all 15 years younger when this game came out, and I'm sure we were all at different points of our lives doing different things with our free time. You know,
right?
Way more drugs now.
But there's also the thing that not only have the people working behind the game 15 years ago moved on, and there's a different creative team behind that, so there's obviously different ideals, but obviously, as you said, the business has evolved, and the gaming landscape was not what it was 15 years ago. Like, different things invoke different needs, and Warcraft is one of the few remaining MMOs that can actually charge a base subscription fee for what it does. Like, anything that comes out with a subscription fee now just doesn't take off because it can't get that player base, regardless of the big name behind it, and inevitably goes free to play and sustains itself with other ways. Like, I don't think World of Warcraft could self-sustain on a free to play model with microtransactions. I don't think it could do what it's doing.
No, it really, and especially with the size that Blizzard is, because if you look at some of the revenue things, what's one of the largest cash things for Activision, Blizzard, and Activision? Wow.
I think, server costs and everything else aside, I think the biggest money drain is the cinematics. I think that rigging and stuff is the biggest monetary, advertising budgets aside, but the cost it does to do those cinematics is got to be insane.
Well, and do also consider that, like, BlizzCon. I know we love BlizzCon, but think about how much of an outlay that is.
The way that from a con organizing thing and working with Sega, that all comes out of a proprietary advertising budget for conventions. Like, they have advertising for their games, and then a convention will come out of an advertising budget set aside on their fiscal stuff.
And the con does build a connection with you and your audience. Like, I feel energized because of everything that comes out of BlizzCon.
And it has to make a fuck ton of money, because the stream, the virtual stream, you don't really get that with anybody else. And we've never seen the numbers on that, but hundreds of thousands. How many people? No.
Do you want to know where they make the
Viking food truck?
Oh, that too, and that is delicious. Thank you for the suggestion. No, they make their money in the Darkmoon Fair with those time warp boxes. $50.
Are they like mystery crates? Are they like?
They're mystery crates with like codes that they reprint.
Pin collecting.
And like I lines and lines. I wanted to buy one, but knowing my RNG, I would have sucked. But
that's how they get you.
That is
this man with his RNG has fucking the infinite time reaver. You can go suck my left one, sir.
And here's the thing too.
I don't do that
Oh,
anymore,
my
Mister.
goodness. Well, this is a whole other show now.
Yeah, I know, right?
Blizzard wouldn't do it if it didn't make money somehow. And that's the thing.
That is true.
Bobby Kotick is not signing off on anything unless it's making the shareholders, of which I am one, more money. And let me tell you, I've been watching that stock like a hawk, and it's been exploding over the last year, just like we figured it would.
Yeah.
And if you too want to become a shareholder, go to robinhood.com and use
my 2 whole shares of stock have gone up almost twofold since I bought them.
The thing is that, and this is probably a whole other conversation we could just get into, is talking about like the age of how the game is, but I think it's got to a ground point where the player base can only really go up these days as new players, especially. I'd be interested to see not returning players, but new accounts with the new 0 to 60, because this is the biggest thing that they've talked about for years, is that the level cap has been the biggest barrier to entry for newer players. So I'd be really interested to see new accounts, and not recruit a friend accounts. I'm talking like not proxy accounts set up so people can get their recruit a friend stuff. Brand new accounts.
Put on a boo-boo account.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel called out, but I got one of those.
3 of them. I don't care.
Well, but it's a great point though, because it is daunting. As long as it's been around now, you've got umpteen expansions, you've got all of this lore, you've got books, you've got comics, you've got cinematics, you've got animatics, you've got all this stuff. It's frankly, it's too much for a new player to absorb.
That's before you get into all the fan side of things like machinima, PvP videos, Reddit, and all the stuff. Like there's a lot of content to consume, and it's 15 years. Well, it's 15 years of World of Warcraft content, let alone Warcraft.
All the RPG, all the RTS stuff. Yeah.
I mean, heck, 2 of our favorite creators, Talos and Evantel, make so much content a week that, I mean, everyone else could retire and there'd be enough content out there for WoW. I don't know how. I don't think Taliesin sleeps. I don't.
I don't know. Can't you just go down the street, knock on his door?
I could pop up to London and knock on his door. Yeah. We could, good. Never met, but good friends. Yeah.
Like, what up, bro?
I want to meet them.
How it is. We're just British.
Yeah.
Like,
you guys are all neighbors.
Yeah. You're like, oh yeah.
Right. I'm in California. Got Brad Pitt right next door.
That's it. Exactly.
And we grab our surfboard, just jump out there, and it's cool.
Okay. I do think we've well overrun today, but I'm going to call it an end.
It was a good episode.
No, it's a good episode. I like talking freely and openly about bullshit, and I can do that with the many guests we have on. But yes, we have come to the end of this week's episode. Thank you very much to Berserker and NavOx. Guys, if you once again want to tell people where they can find you around the internet.
You can find us on, our main page is on SoundCloud, but you can find our show anywhere you find your podcast. That's Unshackled Fury. You can find our Twitter account at Unshackled_Fury. You can find me at BerzerkerRage. And NavOx, tell them where they can find you, sir.
You can find me over on Twitter and Twitch. I'm at NAV_OX.
There you go, then. As always, guys, their names and Twitter stuff has been below their faces this entire video, if you've caught us live or on the VOD on YouTube. Otherwise, all the information will be in the description.
And you've got to listen to the podcast. Amazing.
Say that again.
The podcast is amazing.
Yes,
I love it.
100% agree. Frazley, where can they find you around the internet?
On Twitter, when I post like 85 times a day at Frazley-tastic, I do puns and different things like that. You can find me on my podcast, my other dozen podcasts at gnome.podcast.com. I talk to different people around Azeroth and beyond. And also, if you want to see me every day, like acting strange on Twitch at gnome.live.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can catch me on my main Twitter account at Titans Creed. You can catch my gaming and Twitch specific stuff if you just want that at Gaming Phoenix. Otherwise, you can catch me live at twitch.tv/Project Phoenix Productions, and you can catch VODs of most of the content I do over at YouTube at youtube.Project Phoenix Productions. Thank you very much for joining us live, if you have. If not, thank you very much for catching the podcast or the vidcast, depending on what sort of content you have consumed on this merry day. Frazley, who do we have joining us next week, I believe?
next week, we've got one of my besties. We've got Jetta Faye.
So join us next week. Well, we will be joined by the escapable Jetta Faye. Gentlemen, once again, thank you very much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Guys, go follow the guys on Twitter. Go catch their podcast and everything else. But until the next time, as Frazley always likes to say,
Be awesome and join Ben Thier. They are the best.
Whether Horde or Alliance, find more stories around Azeroth on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube.